founder and CEO of Reliability X. Today we're going to have a little video about reorder point analysis. Before we get started, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, give us feedback, leave comments right down below. So economic order quantity and safety stock is really what we want to talk about when we think about reorder point analysis. Reorder point analysis looks at our inventory spend and demand and how much it costs us to place orders, and tells us realistically how much we should have on hand, and when it's time to order, how much we should be ordering at that point in time. The economic order quantity is the optimal order size for the organization. And the calculation for that is the square root of 2 times demand times the cost of placing an order divided by what's called the holding cost of the unit, or the holding cost for that inventory item. And so it's calculated as square root times 2 times demand times the cost to place an order divided by the holding cost. The carrying cost for an order is the average price of stock times the yearly cost of holding. Oftentimes organizations don't really know the yearly cost of holding, so a good rule of thumb here is to use 25%. So 25% if you don't know what the number is. The other variable here is how much does it cost to place an order. Oftentimes organizations just use some round number like $100 or $75 to place an order, but what does that really mean, and how do some organizations make a mistake here? So what it means is that all of the costs associated with creating a purchase rec, walking it through approvals, converting it to a purchase order, and placing the order with the vendor. And so everything from the PR's creation all the way until the receipt of goods is the cost. So all the labor associated with it, how many people have to approve it, who does it go to for approval? Is it manual and I print and I walk around and I get signatures? Or does it happen in the ERP electronically? Excuse me. Whatever those costs are, have to get put into the cost to place an order. Now, oftentimes organizations take what I just described and said, okay, well, that comes to about $100. And the mistake that gets made often is not understanding the average number of purchasing lines per PO. Meaning, they're assuming that this purchase order is only buying one thing. And if your organization's average number of lines per purchase rec is 2, then your cost to place an order for any one line item in your inventory is actually $50, not $100. So get the average number of purchase rec line items, divide that from the average cost to place any individualized order, and that gives you the per line item average cost. All of that goes into the calculation for economic order quantity. Some of the data that we have to get, daily demand. Daily demand is pretty easy. We take all of the orders quantities over time, divide it by the amount of time, and so in this case we have 15 orders over 90 days. We're using 0.2 per day. In this case, we're looking at lead time. So the basics of lead time really is just, well, how long did it take to come in? Inside your CMMS, there is a field for the inventory that says, well, what's the lead time? We do not want to use that information because that's just an estimate of lead time. It's good enough for a basic calculation, but for an actual calculation, we want to know the time from the purchase rec until the goods receipt. And those are dates inside the ERP. So for every inventory item, we want to know the average time from the purchase requisition until the receipt of goods. And that gives us an accurate lead time. Why does it need to be accurate? In order for us to calculate safety stock appropriately, we have to know that lead time. And safety stock is based off of the daily demand times the standard deviation of lead time times the standard normal deviant, or the Z table value of your critical service level. And what do I mean by that? There's a lot of stuff going on here. But let's say for my critical items, I want a 0.99 availability of stock. 0.99 availability of stock. And so with a 0.99 availability of stock, or 0.999, that's a lot different service level than, say, 0.97. And so for 0.97, my safety stock calculation changes because I don't necessarily have to have it 3 out of every 100 times. As a matter of fact, I cannot have it on the shelf. Whereas for my critical entities, only 1 in 1,000 can I not have it on the shelf. That goes into our safety stock calculation to determine safety stock. For more information on reorder point analysis, we've got other videos that walk you completely through the reorder point analysis. This was just a really high-level overview. For more information, go to www.reliabilityx.com or shoot us an email at ask@reliabilityx.com.